Welcome back, everyone. You guys can probably hear that the cicadas are out here for the review as well. And what we're talking about today is the Streamlight TLR-1 HP. This is a relatively new weapon light from the folks over at Streamlight. I put a few photos up on my social media, which you guys should be following me on if you're not. And you guys since have been beating me up for the actual review itself. So the time has come. This, just like its predecessor, which I believe is going to stay in production, the Streamlight TLR-1 HL, is a 1000 lumen weapon light. They both take CR123A batteries. They both have the similar rocker switch that many of you guys know. So basically, just real quick on that, that is important because switchology is extremely important on lights. To press down and hold on the side of the pistol that right-handed shooters would have is going to give you momentary. And if you want constant, you're going to click up. The exact opposite, of course, is true if you're left-handed. So you're going to push up for that. And then, of course, click down for your constant. So the switchology is the same. Again, two CR123A batteries. The actual body size itself is the exact same as well, which is huge for holsters. So there's probably no other light on the market that has more holster compatibility than this light. So that definitely is something that a lot of folks love. The departure from the previous version, that was a 20,000 Candela light, is that this one now is rated for 65,000 Candela. So still 1,000 lumens, but the Candela, meaning the intensity of the light at a given spot, i.e. how far it will throw light, has been increased tremendously. So that is the big difference. I have put a ton of rounds through this light. It's already very dirty, as you will see. Before we actually do the light comparison itself, I will clean that lens off, but we got it caked in dirt. Tons of rounds through it. We've had zero issues at all. And now at this point, really it just comes down to the beam comparison, whether or not you guys like the new beam pattern, whether you guys are okay with the slight price increase and all of those sorts of things. So before we get into those parts, I do want to wait for the sun to go down and do a beam comparison with this guy, as well as the Surefire Turbo, which I know a lot of folks want to look at because the Surefire Turbo is rated for 66,000 Candelas, whereas this is 65, so it should be pretty darn close, but we should be able to tell that relatively soon as the sun will be down quickly. Now, before the sun goes down, we need to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is the Stinger Combat Optic. It's a mil-spec holographic optic that brings military-grade tech to your rifle. A crisp HD circle dot with a 1 MOA center dot, as well as that 65 MOA outer ring that many of you guys know. It also allows you to select between red and green illuminations with 8 brightness levels that are easy to adjust as the lighting conditions you're shooting in also adjust. The optic is built tough with an aluminum housing. It's both fog and shock proof. However, it only weighs 6.9 ounces. It's lightweight and battle ready. It mounts to Picatinny, Weaver, and Mill standard rails, and it runs on a rechargeable CR123A battery and has auto shutoff to maintain good battery life. Typically, the optic comes in at $240. However, now with my link, it is just $79. That's 67% off for my audience, plus free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. You head over to mcgtac.com/GNG to pick one up. As y'all can see, the sun has gone down. The moon, though, is almost full tonight, so we have a ton of natural illumination out here today, as well as just house lights of the neighbors and things like that. So camera is on manual. I recommend if you guys are watching on a computer, turn your screen brightness up to the brightest possible, and that will be as close to what I see here with my human eye. Again, it's set on manual. The camera is to be as close as possible to what I see with my human eye. So that right there is the output from the Streamlight TLR-1 HL, the one that we all know and love. And I'm using a different camera tonight, so we'll see how that footage looks, but yep, that one there, the spot where the wood fence meets the iron fence, about 30 yards away. Trees in the background, anywhere from 30 to 50, depending on the actual tree. You guys can see a nice hot spot, but a good spill as well. Looks like the footage might be sort of jumping around a little bit. Regardless, we're going to go with it. And again, it is on manual, so every light will have the same conditions. And then by contrast, there is the HP. So you can see a much brighter hotspot for sure. And the spill is a very different pattern as well. You still get a good bit of spill, but basically that outer ring there is where the spill is more intense. And then it drops off after that, as you guys can see. And now you're looking at the output from the Streamlight X300 Turbo. Again, a very nice bright hotspot, a little bit of spill, but again, it drops off after that edge there that you guys can see. To contrast that, here is the TLR-1 HP and the Surefire X300 Turbo. Now we have moved to a different spot on my yard. I'm about 10 yards back on my property. The lake shore to shore is about 110 yards, and then there's a little fishing shack on my neighbor's property that is about 10 yards back on his property. So total distance we're looking at here is about 130 yards. So first off, of course, this is the light, the Streamlight TLR-1 HL that we all know and love. Next time I do this, I might have to bump the frame rate up with this camera. Regardless, you guys get a pretty good idea of that beam pattern, and we're going to zoom in here for you with this lens. And as I always say, this is the closest representation to what I actually see here with my human eye. If somebody was out there in front of that little shack, I'd easily be able to tell. Would I be able to ID if something was in their hands? Maybe not. By contrast, here we have the Streamlight TLR HP. You guys can see that Candela is very, very different. I would definitely be able to tell if something was in somebody's hands what it was. It would, I guess, just depend on the actual object. And moving back out, yeah, we need a higher frame rate next time with this camera for sure. So you guys can see that rosemary bush on my property is still being illuminated by the flood. So it definitely still has good flood. Might not be as intense of flood as the HL that we have here, but you still get a good bit. Now you're looking at the output from the Surefire X300 Turbo. Again, a very intense hotspot with that 66,000 Candela, and zooming in. Yep. Very, very good look at what is going on there. And then if we actually switch over from that one to the TLR HP, the hotspot's definitely wider on this one. It's noticeable at distance. So you definitely get a wider hotspot for sure. But in terms of the intensity of the Candela, again, that is the Surefire. And that is the Streamlight HP. Let me back out again. When we back out, you can almost see that moon up there in the top left of your screen there. And again, from this view, that is the Surefire that you guys are looking at there. And that is the Streamlight on the left here. Put them up in the trees, you guys can see there's a slight temperature difference as well in the output, but both of these things, pretty impressive lights, especially considering their size. With the beam comparison out of the way, we only have a few other things to discuss. Like I said, I've had zero issues at all with the light, and we have quite literally thousands of rounds through it at this point on different guns, and everything works as intended. Holsters rather, like we talked about, universally compatible with the previous generations of the light. That is something that a lot of folks like. The cons versus some of the newer Streamlight weapon lights that we have been bringing out here on the channel is that it doesn't come with those rechargeable USB-C batteries that give you a little bit more power, a little bit more juice. But that said, you also get the pro of working with CR123As, which are very good batteries and are easier to find than some of the competitive options out there that other companies are using for it. Another con for me personally is going to be the switches, and I say that not that the switches are bad. I actually really like the switches on the Streamlight TLR-1 series because I'm so used to them. That said, if you ever take like a white light class or something like that, if you see or experience a negative white light discharge during that class, it very likely will be with this light. And the reason for that is a lot of times when people are drawing out of a holster, if they can't the gun at all when they're drawing it, either forward, back, left, right, that will accidentally ND the switches. Now, for a lot of people, that simply doesn't matter. Like for your home defense gun or something like that, will it cause an issue? 99.9% of the time, no. But it is something to be aware of versus, again, the newer switches that they have moved to with a couple different light designs that we have talked about here on the channel. I suspect that is one of the reasons why. Now, price point on this gun. Right now, if you guys are looking around, I've shared this on my social media several times for right around 150 units of measure. However, down below in the video description, there will be a link if you guys are looking to pick one up, because we can't actually link to this everywhere I post videos, which is actually interesting. However, that is generally speaking coming in anywhere between from say like $10 to $25 more expensive than the TLR-1 HL, which again still is giving you those 20,000 Candelas, which is very good for 95% of applications people are going to be using a pistol light on. So do you need this? Should you run out and get this? Maybe. I mean, the extra Candela definitely can help. It can help not just identify targets at distance, it can also help by inducing a wincing reaction when you shine it in someone's face indoors. That is something that definitely can be a benefit to you. One thing that I should address, because I know it'll get brought down in the comments, it's probably already been typed out before I got to this point in the video, but some people with the 65,000 Candela pistol light will be, I guess you could say, not wrongly concerned with getting blinded by the spill when you're using it indoors if you have white walls or mirrors or something like that. The easy way around that is a technique called umbrella lighting, basically where you orient the gun somewhat like this and do that, and you're using the bounce off the ceiling to illuminate in front of you. That will basically eliminate the need for that. And once you do that, if you identify a threat, then you just immediately orient on the threat, and that way you don't have to worry about that issue. That minimizes almost all concerns of that. So there is that. Black helicopters are coming, so I suppose we'll close the video out with that. But yeah, price point roughly that amount, and if you guys are watching this 10 years from now, that might not be the price. So like I mentioned earlier, if you guys have any comments, questions, you can post those down below. You can do so over at all my various social media channels as well. I'm just going to push through with the black helicopter overhead and just keep going. If you guys are following me over there, I appreciate it. If you guys are subscribed here, I definitely appreciate that. If you're not and you like this type of video with black helicopters overhead and cicadas, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you've done that and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, make sure you're signed up for the email at the website here on the screen. This email goes out in 2 different forms. It goes out once a month, and it has all the videos since the previous email went out the month before, so that way you guys aren't being censored by an algorithm from my content. It also gets put on the daily deals email, which if this light goes on sale, gun goes on sale, ammo goes on sale, any of those sorts of things, it will go in the daily deals email. It typically has 8 to 10 of the best deals that we find around the internet. If the item, whatever the item is in the email on a given day, it's the cheapest I know of for that item. So that way it saves you guys some time because I've already done the looking for you, and then also saves you some money as well. There's also a good Pro 2A meme in there that a lot of folks like. That helicopter went by fast. I appreciate that, helicopter pilot, if you're watching. There's also a Pro 2A meme in there that a lot of folks usually like as well. You can sign up just for the meme. I will allow it. We also have an SMS list that you guys can sign up for at the website here on your screen. Or if you don't want to go to a website and you're watching this on your phone, you can just text the word to the code here on your screen, to the number here on your screen, and that will get you signed up for the list as well. That's pretty much it. That's all I got for you. Oh yeah, full disclosure, Streamlight did send this out for the review, but they don't get to see the video first or anything like that. And with that, that is all I have for you. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.